Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the United Stand. It's me, Faz. Hope all of you are doing well and having a good weekend. I mean, here in Manchester, outside, it's almost thunderstorming. There's thunders. I can actually hear it in this studio. There's thunderstorms outside, but what a day it is. David de Gea has left Manchester United. I'll be diving into that. There's a couple of reports on Dean Henderson possibly being the number one for next season. I know some of you are wondering, what is this Don't You Dare title about? What is this title about? I will get into it. I'll break it down. So there's this topic on Dean Henderson possibly being number one. I'll be touching on Amrabat being one of the targets that Eric Ten Hag has identified for the next midfielder. Now that we've secured Mount, who's going to be the next one that we bring in? Amrabat has been officially targeted by Eric Ten Hag for the next signing in that position. Rasmus Hojlund's deal, personal terms agreed. I'll touch on that as well, and a couple of bits about some of our players possibly going on loan as well. So there's good few things to talk about. Make sure you get your tea, water, everything else ready. I've got my glass of water here that I'm going to be sipping throughout the show. Also, this is a United Stand mug that you can see. And if you want one of these, you can go and get one on the United Stand on our website, the Shopify website. Link will be in the description. There's lots of different merch as well. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, I have to show this off actually on camera, is this one. This is so good because you see how they've made Eric look. They've made him actually look like a genius. And he's working on some, it's called what? What is it? Breaking Bad Habits. Breaking Bad Habits. And one of the habits that we can't have is Dean Henderson coming back to Manchester United as number one. Don't you dare. And then maybe say something like he did previously before he left. He said a couple of things about the club before he left, about him wanting to be the number one and being promised this, that, the other. A lot of people, they were not really happy with the stuff Dean Henderson had said. So I particularly am not happy with this. Obviously, it's my opinion. But yeah, there's the shirt. Make sure you go check it out on the Shopify link in the description. Eric Ten Hag, E-R-T-E-H. What does E-R-T-E-H mean in the, I don't know, in the chart, in the chemistry chart, is it? Man, I was not good in school. I was not good in school. But if you do know, get your comments in. What does E-R-T-E and H stand for in the, is it periodic table or something table? I don't know. Anyways, moving on. Let's deep dive into this. The first topic that we're going to talk about is from Miguel Denis. So do take it with a pinch of salt. I'll be very honest. I cannot promise you that it is from a reliable source. The source is as straight as my hairline, which is not straight, by the way. So, yeah, I'll be honest. I don't really know how reliable this is. The quote is, you can check it out on the United Stand Twitter. It says, Manchester United are still some way off the price on Andre Onana. Dean Henderson is an option for number one. So Dean Henderson is an option, not that he's going to be, not that it's Manchester United are looking at it. It's just an option. Maybe it could be an option for Miguel Denis, but I'll be honest, it's not an option for me. And I'm sure it's not an option for many of the fans who are watching and many of the fans across the globe, because we want Andre Onana. The deal is going to happen. I strongly believe it will happen. The first bid obviously got rejected, but it's okay. Manchester United will make an improved offer. And Miguel, on what planet is Eric Ten Hag going to look at Dean Henderson as an option for number one? He just let David de Gea go. David de Gea was supposed to stay one more season, but obviously the money has been allocated to buy a new goalkeeper. So we are going to go and buy a new goalkeeper. On which metaverse does Miguel Denis think, oh, Dean Henderson is an option for Manchester United as a number one? Because it's not. It's absolutely not. Dean Henderson is up for sale. And I'm hoping and I'm expecting Dean Henderson to be sold within this window. There is a club out there that wants him. There is a price on him that we can negotiate and we can work out. We also need the money, by the way. So maybe I could see Dean Henderson being a number 2 or number 3, but obviously Dean Henderson doesn't want that for himself. I don't think there is an option. This is my opinion. I know Miguel's put that out there. It's on the United Stand Twitter. You can go check it out. But I'll be very honest. I do not think that is an option. I do think, on the other hand, Manchester United may look to get a loanee keeper. We do love a loanee keeper, don't we? Manchester United might look to go and get a loanee keeper to help Andre Onana, and there has to be competition in every position, of course. There has to be numbers. But Dean Henderson cannot be that number 1 for next season, that player for next season. That's why the title is Don't You Dare, because don't you dare, Manchester United, fumble this Andre Onana deal. I know Manchester United may have somewhat fumbled the Kim Min-jae deal, because, of course, Kim Min-jae had a release clause. We couldn't secure him. Bayern came in, swooped in, made it happen. It is what it is. We move on. We've got Varane, we've got Martinez, we've got Lindelof, we've got Shaw, who can do that position as well. So it's okay. I'll look past that. But don't you dare fumble this deal with Andre Onana. There's a couple of reports here and there that mention that a 45 million pound deal could be agreed for Andre Onana. There's another one I'll just read out to you quickly. New direct contacts between Inter and Manchester United will happen over this weekend, and an official bid next week to be accepted. Both clubs hope to have documents ready around Wednesday, Thursday. It's a matter of days. Firstly, I was right, Beth. Elizabeth, I was right. I told you this deal will get done by Thursday. I think Beth said Friday, and then Kev said Tuesday, I think, or Monday, Tuesday. But Wednesday, Thursday is the right time because there's paperwork involved. There's all of the stuff behind the scenes involved. But Manchester United are already talking to Inter Milan about Andre Onana. There's a figure, and we'll work it out. It's a bit slower than some people would like it. Preseason is around the corner. Players are already touching the grass, getting in shape, getting ready for the season. I would have liked it to be sealed up by now, but it's okay. It's perfectly okay. We're still getting a fantastic keeper. And as Andre Onana deal is secured, I do want to touch. I know I've touched on it before, but it is a how can I put it? Not a sad day, but it's a day to think back on the legendary David de Gea, who's been in Manchester United. Many of fans will argue with me and say that David de Gea is not deserving to be a legend. David de Gea is not a legend. What has he done? What has he done to be a legend? He's not been great since 2019 or something along those lines. Loads of things on Twitter or online you see. But in my opinion, David de Gea is 100 million% a legend of the club. 100 million%. Numerous accolades that he's achieved, and you must not look past it. You cannot look past it. Manchester United official Twitter account has obviously tweeted out and said, the legend, the incredible, the extremely special person, David de Gea, who's left, and they've given him a very, very nice little send-off as well. I don't think there'll be a testimonial or anything along those lines, but forever a United legend is what the Manchester United official Twitter page has put out. The amount of achievements this player has had, you cannot, like I say, you cannot take it away from him. You can't. And let's not forget this one thing. David de Gea was scheduled to stay. That's one thing I want to put it out there. David de Gea was scheduled to say. I think Mark mentioned it in one of his streams. I think it was yesterday he mentioned, or was it the day before? I'm not really sure. But I do remember Mark mentioning it on his stream as well, that, look, the number one plan A was Harry Kane or Osimhen, and then another player, and David de Gea stays, because either Harry Kane or Osimhen would have taken up 100+ million. But because we're not going for Harry Kane, we now have that allocated money for a goalkeeper. So he has switched his attention to getting a new goalkeeper, which is fine. You need to understand that I am not against a new goalkeeper. Absolutely not. But I do want to put it out there that David de Gea was scheduled to stay. There is another little bit of quote as well that I want to read out. This is from Samuel Luckhurst. And Samuel says, Manchester United sources insist no contract was ever formally offered to David de Gea, despite months of discussion. De Gea's contract expired last week, and Manchester United initially wanted to hold face-to-face discussions. That's very interesting. That is very interesting because part of me and part of all of you, we were under the impression, I particularly was under the impression, that David de Gea had something verbally agreed. But then the club pulled the paperwork or pulled the plug and said, hold on, let us go and identify Andre Onana. Don't forget at the start or just before the start of the window, there was talks of Harry Kane, talks of Victor Osimhen, loads of heavy links, loads of heavy connection. And then boom, we find out we don't have enough money. On top of that, we can't sell players. Money's then allocated. Eric Ten Hag now shifts his energy towards getting a new goalkeeper, which is fine. We needed a new goalkeeper anyways. That's cool. But this thing that Samuel has said, that there was actually no contract, formally offered to David de Gea. That's very interesting. I find that very, very, very interesting because both parties know that his contract's going to run out. But listen, what's gone is gone. It's official. He has left. We can't sit here and talk about it all day long anymore. But I do want to say I will forgive and forget everything that David de Gea has done wrong, according to some people or whatever. According to myself as well, I've seen David de Gea make mistakes in Old Trafford when I've sat in the Stretford end, watching David de Gea make some errors. But it's okay. Everybody makes errors, Being a goalkeeper is a very, very hard job. There's 10 other players that almost get defeated, and then the ball ends up 1v1 with you in any situation, and then you have to make the save. If you make the save, you're a hero. If you don't, you're a zero. And that's how hard it is. It's a lonely, lonely job to be a goalkeeper. But I honestly wish David all the best. And I said it on the forum before, and I'll say it again. The fans that take joy in this somewhat, you're miserable. I'll just say it as it is. You're miserable. I have no problems in saying that, because I will sit and celebrate the keeper who has spent 12 years in our organization and has had so many accolades. The accolades will be there on the shelves for the rest of eternity. So that's my take on David here. There's a couple super chats. I'll just go through them quickly. Ed Woodward, thank you very much for your super chat, my friend. Hope you are well. Woody says, Faz, how do we handle the Martial situation? Well, Ed Woodward, since you are asking me for advice number one is don't ever get a job in football again. You yourself, Mr. Ed Woodward, go and be a successful person somewhere else, but please not in football, just for the sake of football. Maybe you can get a job in Man City and mess them up. But how do we handle the Martial situation? Well, the only way we handle it, and this is actually, I'm going to be logical and balanced here. I'm going to take my unbiased and irrational cap off. I think if we get Rasmus Hojlund, which I think is going to happen because, as on the United stand, you have heard it's hotter than the sun, and I believe it is. I think it will end up that Martial actually ends up staying next season. I do. Because we do need more than one striker, but we don't have the money to go and get another striker. Mason Greenwood is not going to play in Manchester United this season. He's still our player. He's going to go on loan. It's said that he's agreed something with Atalanta, so it looks like that's going to happen. What happens in the next season, I don't know. Nobody knows. We'll see what happens. But as it stands, as of right now, Rasmus Hojlund deal gets done next week, I'm hoping. And we're not going to be able to go and get another striker. There's this thing about, crazy things happen in the transfer window. Harry Kane puts a transfer request in last week of the window, something crazy. Myrtle madness, and some people like to call it. I like to call it Myrtle sadness, not madness. I don't see us going and getting Harry Kane. That would be ideal, honestly. If we got Harry Kane, Rasmus Hojlund, Martial as the third striker, absolutely brilliant. I would actually be more happy for Martial to stay as a third striker. Firstly, because he won't need to be utilized as much, so he won't get injured as much. Touch wood, never know with Martial. And if he's fit and firing, the odd games he can give us loads of quality on the pitch, and that's what we need. We need players available. Squad depth is also crucial and important. Again, Rasmus Hojlund comes in, God forbid, injuries or anything, suspensions, whatever, anything hits him, then what do we do? Where do we stand? Because, I don't want to see Marcus Rashford in the striker position. I want to see him where he is best, at his best, which is on the left. And then comes Martial, what do we do if he gets injured? And the probability of him staying fit majority of the season is very, very low. There's a higher chance of me getting my hairline back, which is almost near about impossible unless I get surgery. So it's one of them. With Martial, it is time to go. The issue is the wages, and the issue is where do we sell him? So Ed Woodward, thank you very much for giving Martial that contract that you gave, because you set us up. You literally set us up, and we can't sell him because of his wages. Suami says, Faz, mate, David De Gea is a legend. It's immutable like gravity. He kept us relevant during the banter era. Moyes, let's not forget, could have been 10th. Of course, look, he's made mistakes, and he's also done really, really, really good in certain games. So again, I cannot take anything at all away from him. Good luck to him in his future, wherever he goes. Big up to United AV as well, who has been a member for 11 months. Thank you very much for your loyalty. Next time Delaney is right, it will be his first. That's a good one. That's a good one. But yeah, moving on quickly and swiftly to the next topic. Manchester United expect to tie up the £45 million signing of Andre Onana next week for as per TalkSport. We all just waiting for Andre Onana to come through. I really want to see him in preseason as well. Just touching on this Andre Onana situation, this is a new era that we're going in, right? Look, this is a new way of football that we will be seeing in Old Trafford. Obviously, we've had David De Gea for such a long time, so we've not seen this sort of football. A ball playing goalkeeper, along with the fantastic Lisandro Martinez, who is so good at passing, along with the Rolls-Royce Rafa Varane. I did say I didn't really want Rafa Varane to play that many games this season, as he is aging. He does have a niggling injury. We need to be a bit careful, but it's okay. I'm okay with Rafa Varane, no problems at all. Obviously, still a fantastic world-class World Cup winning centre-back. I really wonder how we're going to play against the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, who are strengthening in their own respective, clubs. Really interested to see how this Onana situation works out in Manchester United. Not in a bad way, by the way. I'm not putting unnecessary pressure on Onana. I'm not. I've said this in the forum before, and I'll say it again. I promise you, get ready for Andre Onana to make mistakes, because he will. Because guess what? All keepers make mistakes. And guess what? I am okay with it. I am okay if Andre Onana is playing with his feet and all of a sudden misplaces a pass, because if he misplaces one pass out of 15, it's okay. He will get the odd pass wrong. Players get it all the time. Players get it wrong all the time, so it's okay. But just going forward, it's going to be totally different than what you saw this season. That's for sure. We're going to play a higher line, faster football. Wingers will have to be more awake just to be able to receive passes. Another thing I'll tell you as well, first touch. This is something I'm going to touch on. Your first touch has to be immaculate. Casemiro, fantastic, but sometimes if he's pressed, he's not the best on the ball. I'll just, again, being honest from my observation. You need players in and around that midfield. This is, again, Mason Mount comes into this, in and around that midfield, who can receive the ball from the goalkeeper or the centre-back and progress the ball forward on a half-turn quick. It has to be, the transition has to be quick. Literally 2 to 3 passes and you're in the opposition's half in their final third. That's the type of football I'm expecting. Also, if someone's playing extreme high press football, I can expect Andre Onana to be pinging the ball accurately to wingers, one thing that David De Gea couldn't do. On top of that, another thing as well, set pieces. We concede, the odd goals or whatever goals from set pieces, or we just look a bit shaky at times from set pieces or crosses. Another thing that you can transition from a defensive to an attacking phase is if your goalkeeper claims your crosses quickly, comes out of his line, punches the ball out or grabs the ball and then throws it to someone outfield quickly. That way you can counter the team better. You can play more for, front-footed. I'm aware of all of this, by the way, people who think I'm a David De Gea stan, I am aware of all of this. So I am excited to see what happens on preseason, because obviously it's like Formula One. When they try new tires on, Eric Ten Hag will be trying his new players and seeing how they play. I put a tweet out, when is Andre Onana going to get his golden glove in Manchester United? I was just trying to banter some people. A lot of people got triggered for some reason. I don't know why. It's like they don't care about the golden glove, but I'm sure Andre Onana does. But I'm hoping in a few seasons he can definitely get a one or two golden glove with Manchester United. Why not? Why not? Let me see quickly. Another super chat here. I'll just bring it up. Connor says, how many times did we complain about no service? We need another winger, CDM and centre back before anything. It's like buying an exhaust when you need a tire. Interesting from Connor. Look, service. Did Wout Weghorst get service this season? Yes or no? Everybody in the comments, comment down below. Did Wout Weghorst get enough service or ample amount of service this season in the games that he played? Yes or no? I just want to know quickly what the people think, because there were moments when Wout Weghorst was getting crosses and he couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. There were moments when he was getting through balls, but he wasn't putting in the back of the net. Bruno Fernandes does create a lot of chance. If we have just a better striker, a lot of the services are being converted. What do you mean service? You know, there has to be someone to finish the dinner if I put it on the plate. And then people will turn around and say, well, there's no service. Is Rashford able to create more service for his striker? I think so. Sure, he can. He's not the best when it comes to creating chances for other players, maybe for himself, but that's something he can work on, and I'm sure he's got it in him. Anthony, you know, someone that I remember, chat, help me out on this. Which game was it? When Anthony was playing on the left and he whipped a ball into Weghorst. What a whip that was with his left foot from the left wing. And I was like, whoa, need to see Anthony on the left side more instead of the right-hand side. I know Ten Hag likes his inverted wingers, blah, blah, blah. But at times, you know, switch the wingers. And, you know, these things are there for next season. What is going to happen with Ahmad and Pelestri as well? What is the situation with Jadon Sancho, who is obviously, I would say, the most creative winger out of the lot, because Anthony does love a kind of curler, a long distance shot at times. He does invert in and pass the ball 1-2 of Bruno, 1-2 of the midfielder and the striker. Rashford, on the other hand, you know, sometimes you can tell his output is not there when it comes to providing service for the striker, but then at times he's actually able to get the end result himself. And also, you know, Rashford is turning the burners on all the time, smoking his fullbacks all the time. But you are right, you know, that we do need to create just better qualities, you know, better quality crosses, better quality chances for our striker. A good striker will make a bad service look like great service. This is one thing I'll tell you. A top class, world class striker will make a bad cross look like a fantastic cross, will make a bad through ball look like a great through ball. And that's what I'm hoping Rasmus Hojlund can become eventually. Not now, of course. Not now, before you guys get heated. He's only 20 years old. He can come into Manchester United and develop loads. But I'm hoping he becomes a top class striker that can make a bad pass look like a great pass, because that's what strikers do. You know, they score off their knees, their thighs, their back heel, whatever, their head and all. So yeah, thank you for the super chat. Anyways, moving on. Just quickly, there's a bit of news on Pelestri as well, as I was just talking on Pelestri, that FC20 are looking and have their sights on a loan deal for Facundo Pelestri. As per, let me just get this. As per Voetbal International, I'll be very honest. I am totally, absolutely, totally against Facundo Pelestri going on loan, against Amad Diallo going on loan. But again, that's from my perspective. This is just me speaking as a fan. But understanding from a player's perspective, you know, I watch the academy lads a lot, you know, and I know some of them. I speak to some of them. First team football is so important. I cannot emphasize, literally, I cannot emphasize how important an abundance of first team minutes is important to a player's career, especially a young player. Now, is Facundo Pelestri young? he's not really, he's young in terms of his, of course, he's 22 years old. He is young, 21 years old, sorry. He is very young, but at 21 going into 22, he's going to be 22 this December. He needs to play first team minutes. He really does. And he needs to produce consistently on a first team level basis. Unfortunately, with Marcus Rashford being there, with Alejandro Garnacho being there, with Anthony being there, with Sancho being there, I don't think he is going to get those first minutes that he needs to develop, which is really heartbreaking because I do really, really like Facundo Pellistri. And speaking on the previous super chat, the service, Facundo Pellistri can provide you Michelin star service. This lad can really provide, like some of the games that I've seen him play, the way he turns and moves with the ball on the wing, and obviously he's a right-footed right winger, and he cuts the ball in, zips the ball into the box, crosses the ball in. That's what you need sometimes. If, for example, Anthony inverted isn't working in a particular game, always cutting in on his left, or in certain games slowing the game down more than we like, you would like that option to have Facundo Pellistri. But Facundo Pellistri, to become that option, you need to prove that you are capable of first team football. He's had good moments, really good moments in Manchester United. He's had good moments last preseason as well, I remember. But I think the sensible thing from a player's perspective is good to go on loan. Now, what happens to squad depth? Fred is going to leave. I'm hoping McTominay is going to go, Fred or McTominay, whichever one. Manchester United are open to listening to offers for Jadon Sancho, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to stay. There's Mount, who can play, fluid on numerous different positions. There's Bruno, who can play on the right. Actually, don't forget, there's Bruno who can play on the right as well. So Facundo Pellistri more down in the pecking order. But it's just squad depth. You would want to keep Facundo for squad depth, but is he willing to stay as squad depth? Because I'm sure Facundo and his agent is speaking to the club and saying, look, the lad is ready to play some decent minutes and give him an opportunity, just like you gave Garnacho. Don't forget, there were reports during the season that we've spoken on the forum. I spoke personally on the forum as well, that there was reports that Facundo Pellistri's agent was particularly not happy with Manchester United, but eventually Ten Hag sorted that situation. Now Facundo is a part of the squad more, training with the first team more, involved in really small amounts. But yeah, I think a loan option is okay, right? A loan option is okay. Look what the loan has done to Amad Diallo. I mean, we've just seen the real Amad Diallo come out when he's just gone on loan. This is another topic. Should we send Amad Diallo on loan again? Yes or no? Comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Again, I don't think Amad should go on loan, but from a player's perspective, I'm hearing that Ahmad is, willing to stay and be part of the squad and get the minutes that he can get and prove to the gaffer, because you have to be here to prove to the gaffer anyways. Prove to the gaffer that he can be part of the first team. I love players that can bring something different in games. This is just so important. A left-footed left winger, a right-footed right winger. Ricky goes on about it all the time. Almost like a 4-4-2. But Ten Hag likes his wingers inverting in, even his fullbacks. But yeah, Ahmad and Pellistri should stay from a fan perspective. Another super chat from WJK. I'll just highlight this quickly. Am I stupid? Well, I hope not. Or would Lavia be a homegrown player in few years? Never heard that you have talked about. I have talked about Lavia, and that is someone that I would love in Manchester United. 50 million is quoted for him, but it seems like Manchester United and Erik ten Hag are set on Amrabat, and as per the reports as well, let me just bring it up. Where is it gone? Where have you disappeared to? There you go. According to Jack Talbot, chief football correspondent for transfer.com, says Erik ten Hag has made Sofyan Amrabat his next midfield target following the signing of Mason Mount. A lot of people are happy with the Amrabat signing. I'm okay with it. I'm not against it, but I would like Lavia. Of course I would. He's younger. He's played in the Premier League. He's shown his levels, and the ceiling is just so much higher. With all due respect to Amrabat, the ceiling is so much higher. And for the price that's quoted, if, like I say, if we can sell some players, then it's a very attractive deal to make. It's a deal right there, you know. I won't be surprised if, like I keep saying, I will not be surprised if a big club comes out for Lavia, if not this summer, next summer. Of course, the team hasn't done well, but in a poor team, he's done fantastic. And you've seen what he can do in the Premier League. Why wouldn't you want to go and get a 19-year-old like that? Look, if you're going, of course, just to put in comparison, Rasmus Hojlund, 20 years old, 50 million. Lavia, 19 years old, in the Premier League. Make the deal happen for 40, 45 million. I'm sure they would be open to a negotiation. Amrabat is 20 million or 25, around those regions. Erik ten Hag wants him, I guess, but I don't know. Have to back the manager, right? Have to back the manager. If he wants him, he gets him. Has Erik ten Hag been backed fully all at times? Not really. You know, the money's not there for Erik ten Hag to be backed. Frankie de Jong didn't end up coming. Harry Kane is not here. You know, Hakpo, one of the players that he was looking at, not here. Darwin Núñez, one of the players he was looking at, not here. So he's going with these other players that are going to be in line with the budget that we have. And it's just a shame. Just need the ownership situation done as soon as possible. And Ten Hag will have a blank check. And that's when you will really see Ten Hag going for the players that we think he should be getting. At the moment, even so, there are some fans saying, why is Ten Hag always going for the boys that he knows? Well, one, because he knows them and he knows how they are and he wants to play his system. And two, some of them actually fit within the budget. If Andre Onana was worth 70, 80 million, don't think we would be able to get him this window anyways. Couple of super chats. Let me just bring them up. UHT Red says Tanbridge, money emoji. Hojlund and midfielder in, Henderson out. I can agree with that. Yeah, cash in on Henderson. Thank you very much for the super chat. Araya says, are Glazers secret Liverpool fans? Your thoughts about this? I don't even want to think about the Glazers, in all honesty. I appreciate your super chat. But I don't want to get bogged down with the Glazers. Right now, things are going well in terms of Ten Hag done well with the team, with what we have. Also, actually, I am going to say this now. David de Gea does not like the Glazers. I'll tell you why. Who remembers Carabao Cup final? And we won. Who remember? Because I'm sure you remember this if you watched that final. After the whistle, when the players were in the trophy area, you know, collecting the trophy and the medals near the stairs, near the steps. Who remembers seeing this video of David de Gea looking at the Glazers and not shaking their hand? I remember. It just, I don't know, just because the super chat mentioned Glazers, it just popped in my head. David de Gea does not like the Glazers. I'm just adding 2 + 2. I'm just adding 2 + 2. But I remember David de Gea not shaking the owner's hands, which is great. Love that. Absolutely love that. But yeah, the Glazers Liverpool fans couldn't care less, honestly. If they are, I hope they go and buy Liverpool, because Liverpool was up for sale for 1 week and nobody wanted to buy them. And that's Liverpool. Jerome says, good evening, Fast. Good evening to you, Jerome. Says, who do you think we will sell before the window ends? Oh, mate. Oh, mate. What a good question, because, okay, I think most definitely Dean Henderson has to be sold. Like, he's not actually a bad keeper. He's an okay keeper. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I want him to be sold. So he's an okay keeper. We'll give him that. Obviously, the side Nottingham Forest where he was at, they've conceded loads of goals. But I think he will be the first player to be sold. I've seen quite a lot of reports about Fred. I think Fred will be sold. As much as I would like Fred to stay over McTominay, if I had to pick one or the other, I would like Fred to stay. If instead of McTominay, if I had the choice, if that was the options. Ideally, both of them, it's okay if we get good money for both and we can get more players in. But I think it'll be Henderson, then Fred. I think somehow I'm just clinging on to this feeling where Harry Maguire sold on the last week of the window. But again, I don't know. I'm very mixed because just literally not hearing much reports about Harry Maguire leaving. I've heard reports about Fred and Fulham. I've heard reports about Dean Henderson, Forest, um, McTominay, Newcastle. There's been concrete stuff here and there. Donny van der Beek has had concrete offers or concrete approaches from clubs in Europe, but nothing on Harry Maguire. Literally nothing. Is he able to spend another season on the bench? At his age, um, England starter, he has to be sold. He has to look at his own career, right? He has to look at his own career. Um, so I think in that order, I would say Dean Henderson, Fred, and then Harry Maguire. I think three players. Martial, I don't see us selling. I really don't. Who is going to take a player whose injury record is that bad? With all due respect to Martial, because the injury is not his fault. But who's going to buy him on the wages that he is under as well? His loanee clubs didn't want him as well. So yeah, that's that. That is that. Let me see if I've missed any other. I do apologize if I have missed any other chats. Just quickly, Mondal, who's been a member for 12 months, says we should have Ahmad here this season, given the current striker situation. You said sticker, but I think you mean striker. Firstly, thank you very much for staying a member for 12 months. Really appreciate you. But yeah, okay. You think Ahmad should stay because the striker situation is thin? I mean, if Martial stays and Rasmus, and if and when Rasmus comes in, two strikers, Rashford can play the striker role sometimes. Should be okay. But I think for squad depth, Ahmad should stay. It's an interesting one because just last season we've played every game that we could possibly play, bar the Europa League, knockout stage, just after the knockout stages, the semi and the final, two cup finals, all the Premier League games. Obviously, there was a World Cup in the middle, which didn't help the players being in the middle of the season. But then this season, last season, we have to learn from last season's suspensions, blah, blah, blah. The run of games can have an impact on players' fatigue, and it's important to have rotation. By the way, Ten Hag did mention this in a press conference. Again, I'll reference a particular press conference where Ten Hag mentioned this. He said, I like to keep players rotating, keep them fresh, keep them ready for the match. So sometimes you'll see Luke Shaw, sometimes you'll see Malacia, sometimes you'll see Dallo, sometimes you'll see Bissaka. I mean, last season, loads of games. I was like, is it going to be Dallo? Is it going to be Bissaka? Not really sure. In that sense, I think Amad Diallo should stay. But let's look at it as logically as we can. I don't think even if Ahmad stays for squad depth, he is not going to get the minutes. He literally isn't. Very, very, very minimal minutes. You've got Garnacho, who's obviously now part of the first team. You've got Rashi, as I mentioned before, Anthony, Sancho, Bruno, Mount, all of these players who can play, fluidly on the wing. So, yeah, I don't think Ahmad will stay. Let me see. Have I missed any other members? No, I haven't. Thank you very much for everyone's super chats so far. Yeah, moving on. Just on this Amrabat situation. Not on the Amrabat situation, on the Rasmus situation. Personal terms between Rasmus Hojlund and Manchester United have been agreed in May. Wow. Fabrizio put this out today. So all of June, we're now in July. I do wonder why this deal is taking so long. And now it's made me think the reason why this deal is taking so long is because Manchester United want to send a player towards Atalanta. That's the actual reason. I believe, this is my just analysis, the reason why the Rasmus Hojlund deal is taking so long is because Manchester United want to lower the purchase price by sending a player their way. I remember Amad Diallo was one of them, linked with Atalanta. Possible Eric Ten Hag could be looking at Amad Diallo going on loan to Atalanta in return for Rasmus Hojlund on a cheaper fee, and we subtract the loan fee from Atalanta. Obviously, we work the wages out and etc. as well. But now we've obviously heard that Mason Greenwood has agreed to go to Atalanta on loan. We'll find out. Next week is going to be very interesting to find out the movement of these players, because preseason is around the corner. I think we'll hear lots of different news next week on lots of different positions. But I think that's why this Rasmus Hojlund deal has taken a bit longer, because 50 million, would you much rather pay 50 million or send a player that their way on loan and take off the loan fee and reduce that price to 40 million maybe? A bid has not gone in yet, so a bid is still going to go in next week. I'm hoping it'll get sorted out, and we'll actually find out who is going towards Atalanta. Is it Mason Greenwood or is it Amad Diallo? But yeah, that's my thing. One question I wanted to ask you guys today. Let's see this. Rasmus Hojlund, Andre Onana, Amrabat, and Mason Mount. 4 signings. These 4 signings, based on these 4 signings, what would you rate the incoming? What would you rate it out of 10? For me, to rate a transfer window, I have to see the players leaving and the players coming in, on what wage structure as well, all as a whole. But just on the basis of players coming in, what would you rate this window? Just on the basis. Rasmus Hojlund, Mason Mount, Andre Onana, and Amrabat. I'm very interested to find out what people think out of 10. Wow. I wish I could do a poll and do an average, but I can't. But I'm seeing a lot of 5s. Seen a couple, no, not couple, I tell a lie. Seen 1 or 2 4. Seen a couple 8. But between 5 and 6, it seems like 5 and 6. And that's interesting. Very, very interesting. I would have given it, I don't want to sound harsh and give it a 6. And I don't want to sound like I'm twerking and give it a 7. And I don't like decimals. I think 6. I'd give this window of incomings a 6. But then look at it this way, right? 2 seasons go by. Mason Mount has done fantastic. Rasmus Hojlund has done fantastic. I'm praying, by the way. I'm praying that happens. That Rasmus Hojlund has become a really good striker. Mason Mount has done fantastic. Amrabat has done well. Andre Onana is absolutely bossing it. We will look back at this window and we will say, well, actually, who remembers that window when Faz asked us what this window was out of 10? And I gave it a 6, and actually it was an 8 or a 9 because the players turned out to be really good. I think the names don't help it. If it was a Harry Kane in there, if it was a Frankie de Jong in there, if it was a Lavia in there, if there was a Caicedo in there, if there was a Kim Min-jae in there, all of these names that we were linked with, if one of those names was in there, I promise you this window easily becomes a 7 or an 8. Ideally, the striker situation. If Victor Osimhen, if Gonzalo Ramos, if Harry Kane was linked with Manchester United and coming to Manchester United, then I would have easily given it a 7 or an 8 because how important that role is. Another question that I wanted to pose, again, I'm so sorry I can't do a poll. I wish I really could, but Rasmus Hojlund leading this line next season. Marcus said he thinks Rasmus can get 10 to 15 goals. 15 goals in Manchester United. I know he says, we're Manchester United. We create chances. And I do agree with him. But it's interesting how Mark put it. He said a decent striker will score 10 to 15 goals in Manchester United. And you know what? Okay, he's right. He said that Ronaldo scored 18 in the worst Manchester United season. Sure, agreed. But when Wout Weghorst came in, what did we expect? What did we really expect from Wout Weghorst? I'm not comparing Wout Weghorst to Rasmus Hojlund, by the way, just to clarify that. I think putting that much weight on a 20-year-old coming from Atalanta to lead Manchester United, who've just come third, who've just been in 2 cup finals, who are looking to do well in a Champions League competition. It's a big, big ask. And boy, oh boy, if he becomes that player, is he gonna go down in the history books? Because coming in what a story it would be. Rasmus Hojlund came to Manchester United at the tender age of 20 years old for 50 million pounds, and the rest is history. And the rest is history. And I hope that's the case. But also, that makes me wonder if Rasmus Hojlund comes in this season, right? And he goes to lead the line. Harry Kane next season on a free. Would you guys take that? Because I would take Harry Kane on a free, even if he's 32, 33 years old. Strikers can play until 35, no problem. Yeah, I just look at it this way. Bring in Rasmus Hojlund, but then are we going to be sacrificing something? Because we must be patient with Rasmus, by the way. We have to be very, very, very patient. I'll put this out there. Clip it if you want. You cannot over pressure this lad, because it's a big, big, big step up from where he is now. Funny enough, if Martial ends up staying, is Martial going to lead the line and Rasmus be the second striker? This is another topic as well. This is an interesting one to think as well. I know some people, look, someone said, RRS says, I'm sick of Harry Kane talk. Sick of it. Guess what? So am I. I am sick of Harry Kane talk, because I would like to buy him. I would like him to come to Manchester United. I would like Gonçalo Ramos to come to Manchester United. But until the Qataris come in, it's not happening. Doesn't look like it is anyways. Couple of more super chats. Darren, thank you very much for your super chat. Darren says, what about swapping Maguire and Cash for West Ham's Scamacca? Would make another good forward. Cowell impressed me in final today for England. We were linked with Scamacca. There was a little bit of talks about Scamacca, I remember, in the last window, but it didn't happen. Harry Maguire and Cash, that just screams red flags to me, because we literally have to give the 80 million pound centre back, England starting centre back, and Cash for their striker. Are they going to want to do that? Is the question. I don't know. I don't think West Ham are that stupid to let their striker go after signing him for Harry Maguire. I think it would be a better situation for them anyways to just take Harry Maguire. Are they going to? I don't know. Again, it's very confusing as to why nothing has come out with Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire is just the PR is hats off, really and truly hats off, because just don't hear anything, do you? Nothing bad, nothing good, nothing negative, nothing positive, not left, not right. Is he gonna go? Is he gonna stay? It's just zipped, quiet, silent when it comes to Harry Maguire. And kudos to the media team. They do very well when it comes to Harry. Mario says, Faz, do you think we will go for a centre-back? Unfortunately, my straight answer is no, Mario. I don't think so, because Kim Min-jae would have been the player that we go for, and we fumbled. Kim Min-jae didn't reject us. I want to clarify. We fumbled because we don't have the money, especially with Varane's injuries and our reliance on Harry Maguire. Well, we don't rely on Harry Maguire, Mario, because there was times when Harry Maguire was fit last season, and Eric, the great bald Maestro Ten Hag, decided that he will play Luke Shaw in centre back rather than play Harry Maguire. He's literally, I think if Bailly comes back, he will play above Harry Maguire. I think if Bailly ends up staying, which I don't think is going to happen, if Eric Bailly stayed, he would play above Harry Maguire. I think so. With Andre Onana in keeper, with Lisandro Martinez next to him, Eric Bailly would do a better job than Harry Maguire. That's just what I think. Someone said Disasi, but I don't think we're going to go for another centre back. I think how do I pronounce his name? Let me just Todibo is the one I was going to say. Todibo, not Disasi. Not a big fan of Disasi. From what I've seen of Jean-Claire Todibo, who's in OGC Nice, I do like him as a centre back. 23-year-old. Sorry. Can play left side or right side of centre back. Really good, really aggressive. I do like him, but again, what's the price going to be? On top of that, he's a player of the club who is owned by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who I don't know. Is he going to sell us his player? If he buys us, if he's successful in taking part ownership of Manchester United, maybe. If not, he might have a hunch against Manchester United, and he might never sell any player from OGC Nice. One of them. I think a couple more super chats. Is there any more super chats that I have missed or anything else? Let me just quickly double check. No, I haven't. That was all. So yeah, I think it's just Harry Maguire having to leave somehow, one day or another. Not really much else in terms to cover today. I just hope the Rasmus Hojlund deal is sorted out. David de Gea has left. Andre Onana, 45 million next week, as per Talk Sport. And Fabrizio, as he said as well, the deal is looking to get sorted between Wednesday and Thursday next week. It's a matter of days before we get the here we go on Andre Onana. And oh boy, the people that have rejoiced this moment, I'm with you. I'm rejoicing as well. But as per the title, don't you dare. Don't you dare. I need some water. Don't you dare put Dean Henderson as our number one next season. Impossible. Impossible. Can't. Dean Henderson, yeah, I can't. Oh my goodness. Then I really will have tears in my eyes, as per Beth's tweet. I really will have tears in my eyes if I see Dean Henderson and his cap. Where's the cap? Do we have a cap? And his little cap that he wears. Rolling the ball. Dean Henderson to Harry Maguire. Can you imagine that? I will actually have tears in my eyes. Don't you dare, Manchester United. Go and finish this Andre Onana deal. Then go and move on to Rasmus Hojlund. Make that Lavia deal or Amrabat. And we'll start off next season. But thank you very much to everyone for joining. It was a fantastic show. I really appreciate all of you. Make sure, like I said before, go and check out the United Stand Shopify. Link is in the description. What a t-shirt this is. What size is this? God damn it. It's not my size. I need some t-shirts of my size. Maybe I might fit in this L. But I don't catch any L's. We only catch W's. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. It's been a fantastic show. I will catch you on the next one. Another super chat. Just quickly get this one in from Grace. Grace says Glazers, Gym, Qatar, and ETH. Whoa, Grace. What's going on here? Grace, what's going on here? Glazers, Jim, Qatar, and Eric Ten Hag out. There I said, no, Grace, have some grace. Grace, have some grace. And be brave. And brace yourself for next season. Because I'm sure, Grace, you are a Liverpool fan. That's where you are. That's where you are. Thank you very much. I will catch you all on the next one. Take care. Good evening. And God bless.